What's up again, Mullen fans? I hope you're doing really well. Looks like Tuesday is going to be another similar day to Monday for the stock. We're looking at finishing the day about 1 cent down. Still about 40 minutes left in the session, but there hasn't been any sort of news catalyst out to spur on the stock or to majorly take away from it. We're just kind of having a bit of a hangover, I think, from what happened over the weekend. Like obviously the Lawrence Hardge call. And I do want to talk a little bit about one other element of that call a little bit later. But there's just one other thing I thought worth addressing is there's a bit more contemporary. There's been a lot of talk about a potential short squeeze in MULN Automotive at the moment. This is something that comes up a lot with MULN stock. And, I've kind of thought at times that we're going to see a short squeeze with the stock. The big thing driving is that there's a high cost to borrow. I think some sources are putting it as high as like 270%. I'm looking at it on Fintel saying about 80%, which is like high. Don't get me wrong, because that's like what you're going to pay to borrow shares if you hold them over a year. And that's the reason why that's a bit of a potential catalyst, is that it can put pressure on short positions to cover if the stock starts to rise, because it's costly to hold those positions. Now, I'm not going to read too much into that because there isn't any real catalyst coming down the pipeline, it seems, from MULN that could actually trigger a short squeeze. Because other than having like a short interest and a high cost to borrow, you do want to have a good positive catalyst. And the only catalyst we're kind of really hanging out for now is just some confirmation around vehicle deliveries. And the fact that we haven't had any is a little bit worrying, I suppose. Not worrying, I guess, but like it's just, kind of, you'd expect it kind of from MULN the way, they do business so far, which is sad to say. They put out all these dates and things and they don't necessarily reliably meet them, but whatever. So I don't think there's anything coming that's going to trigger a short squeeze. And to be honest, the retail interest in both MULN and I think short squeeze is not what it was, about 18 months, 2 years ago. So I think MULN Automotive is really kind of out on a limb here. It's getting shorted heavily because, there's a lot that's not right with the company. And on that note, I do want to come back to Lawrence Hardge. And I know people on here don't like me necessarily talking about him, but he's obviously someone who's involved with the company. If you're not looking at what Lawrence Hardge is doing with, you're actually missing, some major news that's happening with the company. Not in terms of what he's going to do for the company, but in terms of what it could mean for the company in terms of, how it's perceived by the public, because he has had like obviously dealings with the MULN Automotive. Now, I spoke the other day about like the drama of him clashing with the guy from MULN. Oh, his name escapes me again. Someone mentioned it last time. It's Dan something. The name's over my head. Someone mentioned it in the comments the other day. That clash. I spoke about that the other day. But one thing that I think is worth noting, and Lawrence Hardge brought it up in the call before, he kind of had that clash over the phone, and that was that, there's got to be some questions about maybe the product that MULN is putting out there. Now, obviously there's been rumors about like MULN might be just like repackaging and reassembling Chinese vehicles in the United States, and that's something that's, I think, subject to court cases at the moment. But Lawrence Hardge brought up something that actually is in front of people's eyes, and that's actually the fact that the vehicles that MULN are putting out and that he's done his testing of his equipment on, supposed testing, is that they don't actually have that large of a range, which is a bit of an issue considering that they are vehicles targeted at the commercial market, where they're obviously going to get used quite a lot. And he brought up the point that low range that they have, I think he said it's about 100 miles an hour, was without a load. So, and he makes the point, which is a very valid one, that if you add the capacity load to those vehicles, it's probably going to bring the range right down. So that's actually a real major issue. And it's something that kind of casts a bit of a doubt around what MULN is putting out versus, some rivals in that space. Obviously, they're not like, they don't have a head-to-head rival in all of them, but like other companies that deal with commercial fleets in the EV space, like Rivian, for instance, obviously has something that's a far superior product at this point, it seems. So, like if that is the case, and Lawrence Hardge is right about this, I could be wrong on this, but that's actually not going to make the vehicles that appealing. they looks like they have a lower price entry point, and I guess in terms of range, that's what you're going to be paying for with MULN Automotive. You're not going to necessarily get the same range, which is why if Lawrence Hardge's technology actually did work in MULN's vehicles, it would actually probably be a bit of a saving grace for the company, because it would actually obviously significantly increase the range that their vehicles can travel at. Just a couple of thoughts. I know, like I said before, people don't like me talking about Lawrence Hardge, but I think you do have to keep in mind that he's, playing a role in MULN, whether in the company or outside the company, for a little while still to come, at least until these court cases are settled. I think I heard another channel, I think Business Dad. I should call myself Business Dad. No, I'm not really. Maybe I should call myself Stay at Home Dad or Jack Dad, because I've just been to the gym. Sorry, I'm being an idiot. He sort of he sort of said, I don't like to say his name, we'll just call him LH. It's kind of a bit of a Voldemort situation there, really. Like, it gives you a bit of a idea on what how people are feeling about Lawrence Hardge right now. But I think you have to still pay attention to what he's saying, and obviously look at what's going on and make up your own mind about the whole situation there. That's the only thing I can kind of really say. Yeah, anyway, share your thoughts on how MULN's doing today, the short squeeze. Do you think anything's ever going to come of it? And if you've got some more ideas about obviously the range issues that Lawrence Hardge brought up in the call around MULN, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm no expert on this stuff. I often defer to comments and, like, as a bit of leads for what to look up to find out more about the company, and I find it really valuable. So I love it when people share their ideas in the comments below about all things MULN and what's going on with it all. And also, if you hear any news about the deliveries, just some confirmation, because we're still waiting for some confirmation that the deliveries that were due to be made on Monday get made. If you hear anything, share that in the comments below. Yeah, otherwise, have a great day, everyone. Cheers.